Hi there. I've been watching a lot of videos about people's 10 most go-to albums, the ones that they listen to the most, and it's been really fantastic. I know I'm very late to the party here because this thread's been going on for the past couple of weeks. I've just been really busy with work. The 10 albums for me are the ones I've found that I put on repeat, shuffle. They're on my playlist when I'm on the go. I'm listening to them in my car, on my music player, or at home on vinyl. So here we go. They're in no particular order. The first one is Moby, and it's his album Play, and this came out in 1999, and I just love it. It's a bit like a lo-fi techno music. And firstly, I was convinced that Moby was British for some reason. This one's great. I have it on a lot, and I love how he samples songs from the past. I only discovered recently that he was using snippets from old American folk songs into his songs, and I only put two and two together recently when I popped into my favorite local record shop. The record owner had on this album that was playing, and it was an album called Recording Sessions by Alan Lomax. He was doing these recordings out in the field, gathering American folk songs for the Library of Congress. I said to him, you know, I've heard these songs before, but I just don't know where. And then I realized it was, they were featured in this album. The second one I have here is Dreams by Gabor Szabo. And I only really got onto Gabor Szabo's music a couple years ago. It was all thanks to YouTube because it came up as a recommendation, this album, and I was so intrigued by the artwork. It's just beautiful, and I thought it was just so beautiful and so magical. I clicked on it, and wow, I was not disappointed with his guitar playing. This Hungarian guitarist playing a bit of psych rock, and it just takes you into a different place, and it's wonderful. I have lots of his albums, but this is my favorite, and I've been listening to this one a lot this past year. Number 3 is the Pat Metheny Group. The album Still Life Talking. This was actually released in 1987. And you can't talk about the Pat Metheny Group without mentioning Lyle Mays, his keyboardist, pianist. And wow, the Pat Metheny Group, he's considered to be a genius, really. I love how he incorporates non-lyrical singing in his compositions, and it's fantastic. My favorite song on this album is called Last Train Home, and in fact that song was featured in a Japanese anime called JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, and it's really exciting. You got this new young generation of people in the Pat Metheny Group, or Pat Metheny, and his work, so this is great. My fourth album is Detroit Spinners, and this came out in 1973. I'm a huge fan of old school soul music. This past year, I've got a lot of their albums, and they're all on CD as well. I find myself playing this one all the time. Great songs here. I'll Be Around, One of a Kind, Love Affair, Ghetto Child, Could It Be I'm Falling in Love, Don't Let the Green Grass Fool You. I mean, it's hit after hit after hit. And this was produced by Tom Bell. He and Linda Creed, they produced so many hits for Stylistics and for the Spinners and other soul groups. This is wonderful. And in fact, Linda Creed, she actually sings as one of the backup singers for some of the songs here. And I love, by the way, some people always, they compare, they say, who did it better, the lead singers, as far as like Bobby Smith or Felipe Wynne. And I feel like they both complement each other, and they're both fantastic. And these two, the lead singers for the Spinners, they really represent to me the apex of the Spinners' success. This is number 5, the Style Council's Cafe Bleu, and I love this, and I've been listening to this mainly after work. When I'm chilling after a long day, and I just love the mix of slow jams. You got a lot of French torch style music as well, and then you've got My Ever-Changing Moods. It's got that kind of Northern Soul sound a little bit, and then You're the Best Thing. Right, so you got Paul Weathers and his chums on here, and some really funky fast beat songs. Mixed Blessing, Me Ship Came In. That's great. Gospel. I love this. This is great. Legend, the best of Bob Marley and the Wailers, and you know, it's the best of album, and this came out in 1984. My favorite on here is Three Little Birds, and I normally play this album in the mornings when I'm getting ready to go to work. It puts me in a good place, in a good mood, and you know, I'm ready to take on the day. And that's number 6. And number 7, this is Big Audio Dynamite by Big Audio Dynamite, or Bad. And you know, this band was started by ex-Clash member Mick Jones, and then he actually had Rankin Rogers briefly in the band as well. And Mick Jones actually played, or he was involved with General Public for a while. So I love this album, and for some reason I've just been playing it a lot this past year. I don't know if it's because I'm, you know, maybe unconsciously reminiscing about my university days. But my favorite songs on here are E = MC2, Medicine Show, Sony. And the reason I remember, I love this band because I had never heard this kind of sound where Bad, or Mick Jones, he was sampling clips from old spaghetti westerns and incorporating it into his songs. And you know, it's kind of got that western kind of feel to it as well. And if you watch the videos, right, they've got like scenes with having a bit of a shootout. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. That came out in 1984. And then I have this 1987 album Darklands by the Jesus and the Mary Chain. So many great hits on here. About You, On the Wall, Cherry Came to You, April Skies. I mean, Happy When It Rains, Darklands. And you know, this Scottish band, it's one of my favorites. I have most of their albums, and yeah, it's great. It's one of my go-to albums. David Gray, number 9, White Ladder. It's my 9th go-to album. So the songs on here, so many, and I tend to keep going back to this one. Please Forgive Me, Oh My, Babylon, White Ladder, This Year's Love, Sail Away, Say Hello, Wave Goodbye. Really great, what a great LP there. And then the last one, I don't have on vinyl, but you know, I have it on CD. It's the soundtrack to Amélie, French film. It came out in 2001. What a great film, and what a great soundtrack, composed by Jan Tiersen. The sound of the accordion, musical box, xylophone, there's something really whimsical about it. There just seems a lot of like innocence and something really magical about those sounds, and you know, coupled that with the actual film, which was really fun and whimsical. I'm surprised this hasn't come out on vinyl, and if it ever does, I will pick up a copy because it really is that good, and I would love to have a vinyl version in my catalog. So those are my 10 go-to albums this past year. I mean, you know, if I were to do this list again, let's say next year or 2 years from now, I think it would be completely different. It all just depends on, you know, my state of mind, my mood. So this past year, these are the ones that I've been listening to a lot. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and let me know if you actually have some similar LPs or we had a shared interest in our go-to albums.